Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here, and I want to talk to you about healing toxicity in our life. Yesterday I ate something. We had a bunch of people over, and all of a sudden I started feeling inflamed. It was like, wow, what's going on with this? This is not my normal. I don't usually have pain. And yeah, well, I didn't do anything during the party because I guess I had to attend to and that type of thing, and so kind of took care of them in the evening. I go, wow, God, what am I supposed to be doing here? And a little still small voice came to me, take some activated charcoal, and I took a bunch of activated charcoal, and then 3 or 4 hours, then all of a sudden it was just amazing that everything disappeared and all that ache and pain was gone. So I think it was miraculous in some ways. And now I have to figure out what the heck that was. But I'll narrow it down. There's no doubt about it. It was something. Maybe somebody brought something and I tried it. And so, exploration sometimes has its price. Also, there's a very interesting thing also about a man that I met the other day, actually re-met the other day, George. I saw him at the health food store, and I've known George for probably 17, maybe 16, 17 years, and he was a very happy, jovial, joking man when I met him, and all of a sudden he got into a relationship, and all of a sudden, nothing. And he wasn't happy at all, and I happened to see him at the health food store, and he came over to me and put his hand on my shoulder and said, Paul, this is great to see you. I want to apologize. I haven't been talking to you, and you see I've been into this toxic relationship, and it was oppressive, and I felt all kinds of stress in it, and I finally, we parted our ways, and I feel better now. And he looked great too. He finally had a joyful appearance and aura around him, and he just looked like the old George I know. Sometimes we can get locked into things that are not good for us, and we think we're supposed to stay in that type of thing, and that was for, boy, probably about 15 years he was doing that relationship, and being not himself whatsoever, because the other person was very possessive and didn't want him talking to different people, and very interesting. So after a while, he finally got the message, and he woke up and got rid of that toxic element in his life. Oh, I thought that was very interesting. And there was another man I know, 30 years ago, he ended up getting in a relationship with a person, and he ended up having a bunch of kids, and that relationship, the person he ended up marrying is very angry and always angry at the world, and he kind of shut up and didn't say anything either, doesn't answer anything, doesn't call back, and when you check with him, how are you doing, that kind of thing, and it just keeps perpetuating itself, keeps going, and then he hasn't gotten the message. So sometimes when toxic elements are there, we get used to the toxin. We think that's the way life is going to be, and that's the way life is supposed to be. And I don't really believe that that's true until we have the aha moment and we are willing to make our big decision. Sometimes that's usually painful. I think it's amazingly painful sometimes for some people, but it's we have to grow. Even the George said, I had to go through this relationship in order to grow, and he was right. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He had to learn that he had to take care of himself, and nobody else could do that for him, and he had to be able to, say, no more. This is not good for me. And how many of us are willing to do that? I've been there, but done that myself. And how many of us are willing to listen to that still small voice of God within and say, this is not really good for me, and I've lost all my friends, and blah, 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 on and on and on. And it's about every one of these cases, you've noticed, it's about listening or not listening to the small voice within. You know what I mean? Where they have eaten something and you feel toxic, and and the small voice says, take the activated charcoal. Or the other one, this relationship is toxic, then you really need to get out of this. And he does that, and then all of a sudden he feels better, and he's his own self. He's joking and laughing and having a good time again. Or is it the one where we don't listen to the still small voice? We know it's true, and we ignore the voice, and we allow that to perpetuate in our life. And I think that's pretty common. A lot of people don't listen to the still small voice. They don't want to listen to the still small voice. They have gotten to the point where they don't even, some of them don't even believe in anything bigger than themselves. And I think one of the biggest things that we can have, which is negative going on in ourselves, is thinking we have all the answers. And which is really, really sad, you know what I mean? I have no answers for anybody really whatsoever. And I'm still learning, and I'll be learning until the day I die. And everybody has their own path. There's no doubt about that. And all these things are good, because even the man who's stuck in that relationship for 30 years, he's learning. Maybe in this lifetime yet to come, or in another lifetime, he will attain the ability to get out of that toxicity. And we all have had toxicity in our lives at one time or another. I was just talking to another young lady on Friday, and she was taking care of her mother, who is not doing well. She has dementia, and her mother has been very difficult, and she always has been difficult. And then she has brothers and sisters that won't help the mother because she's been difficult. What can you say? Yet she's still their mother, and they need to honor her and take care of her. And she's at a point now where she really can't say too much. She's pretty much, you just kind of have to move her from one place to another, and she doesn't know exactly what's going on. So at this point, there's just about helping the sister, which is doing the work all by herself, to make a change. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to set aside, we have that still small voice in us saying, I need to help my sister. But we're not willing to listen to that. That's that toxicity again, which is in our way. It's kind of like blocking the window so we can't see the reality of what's going on. And we have so much ego that, I was hurt by Mom so many times that I can't allow myself to see that I need to step up and do my part. And I think that's a little sad. Sometimes we just need to nurture those people. Sometimes we just have to put it out there that, you know what, your mom needs your help right now. And sometimes that doesn't do any good. All we can do is do the best we can with what knowledge comes from the still small voice within, and allow ourselves to grow and change. Toxicity takes many different forms, and we allow ourselves to see what's going on. I've had a lot of people who, a particular man who ended up actually taking some medication for his brain. He had anxiety and that type of thing, and the doctors gave him some medications, and it did damage to his brain. And I would have said there was probably a still small voice inside saying, maybe you shouldn't take these things. These are not good for you. Let's not mess around with your brain. But a lot of times we don't listen to that. And so we allow ourselves, the doctor knows best. So we allow ourselves to go and take that toxic thing, and then it ended up causing damage to his brain. But will alleviate itself after a while, and he is making great strides with just my diet and meditation, and the brain will heal. It just takes a while. There's no doubt about it. But if we would have listened to that still small voice in the beginning, none of this would have happened. But there is a learning lesson out of all these things, and we'll have to allow ourselves to grow and change and become more of who we are deep down inside. How are you growing? How are you changing? Are you allowing yourself to grow to become more of who you really want to be? And are you allowing yourselves to emulate somebody that you really look up to? You know, one of the greats that I look up to is Sai Baba, also Divine Mother Amma and Jesus and Buddha. I think that there is a little bit of God love in all of us. It's get covered up by a lot of darkness sometimes. And a lot of times we need to wipe away all that darkness so we can see the truth and allow ourselves to grow and change and become, the light that brings moths to us, and then we can help people in general. And that's what we're here for. It is said in many of the spiritual texts, all you have to do is love one person. Love one person, and that one person will love another person, and that person will love another person, and that person will love another person. It's a chain reaction that will happen. And it is written that the God and the angels will take care of the rest. All we have to do is love. And I think that's probably the most important thing. Sometimes love comes in the form of tough love too, Sometimes we have to say, what's going on? Because you can be straight up with people and they just won't get it, you know what I mean? You can let them know, that I don't like this. We had a man yesterday, we had the party coming on, and he's asking for a ride to way far away, and my wife and I were really busy. We just had to be really straight with him. You know what? We don't have the time at the moment, and we can take you tomorrow. Sometimes, people ask things in inopportune times, and he was kind of grumpy about that, but what can we do? We just didn't have the time, and we said we're sorry, and we'll be glad to take you tomorrow. And so I think it's really important. He knew deep down inside that this was an inopportune time for us to have to give him a ride to the other side of the city. We just didn't have the time. My wife was going out and getting things, and I was cooking and taking care of things and getting everything ready for a guest to come. And here, about an hour before everybody's supposed to arrive, here he wants to ride. And it was like, no, I want to honor you, but at the same time, I can't do this right now. And you have to be very straight with people, and very honest and very just with them, and allow them to grow and change. And sometimes we hold back our truths, and I think that's not good. If you hold back your truth, a lot of times people never grow. They never remember what they're supposed to be listening to in that still small voice. And sometimes you can say your truth and they still won't listen. And that's just part of their growing process. So allow yourself to speak up. You know what I mean? I think it's our social and spiritual imperative for allow ourselves to speak up and say our truth. And also ponder your truth for a little while. Is this going to be a positive thing if I say it? Is it really going to make any reaction to this person? Maybe, maybe not. But sometimes not saying our truth also, we feel really bad inside because something did happen, or we could have prevented something from happening. So sometimes we need to speak up and say what we need to say, and we can actually become ill if we don't speak up our truth. I think that's really, really important. And I see a lot of people not speaking their truth. I think it's really important that we speak up and talk about what's going on in our life and, saying, wait a minute, I don't believe that way. And a lot of times that's very, very important. So we have to allow ourselves to grow and have courage. Sometimes we have the courage to say the truth. And this is super important. So allow yourselves to remove the toxic elements in your life, one way or another. Listen to the still small voice. Allow yourself to heal your body by doing that also, and also heal your lives by removing toxins from your lives also. And in every way, shape, or form, your life is going to get better. And speak your truth. This is super important, and everything is going to be good. If you care to subscribe, that is greatly appreciated. Tell others about my YouTube videos. And if you want to get a hold of me, my consultations are free. All my info is down below. Hit show more, and my email, my phone number, everything is down there. And we're glad to hear from you, and I'll help you in any way, shape, or form that I can. And also, if you care to make a donation, that is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. And so, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon in one shape or another. And remember, most of all, above everything else, I love you.